Hey guys, we are back again along with the springtime. It is 80 degrees out there in sunny Nevada, and we are loving it, aren't we, Sanya?
Absolutely.
So today, again, it's Randy Hatata, Expand Realty, and we have a special guest, Sanya Danielson, also from Expand Realty, and she's joining us to have a new face, new voice in front of you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be part of the Expand Ohana, and I'm looking forward to growing and just learning what there is to learn about Vegas.
You see, she said Ohana, that's exposing where she's from, right? Exposing her stripes. So where are you from, Sonia?
Originally, I grew up in Aiea on the island of Oahu, and I actually graduated from Aiea. Na'ali'i o Aiea.
You heard what she said? Ali'i o Aiea. All right. So how long have you been in Las Vegas?
We moved to Las Vegas back in 2012, the summer after my oldest son graduated from the 6th grade. And it's been an interesting transition.
A journey?
A very exciting journey with a bunch of opportunities that I didn't even realize I'd be presented.
Oh, you've been here longer than I thought. So over 10 years.
Yeah.
How do you like the Ninth Island?
Love the Ninth Island. Still getting used to the summers, even though it has been a little over 10 years. Those last summer, the 120 degrees, that kind of got me a little bit.
Cool. Well, some of our viewers today will be potentially relocating or, wondering what's going on in Vegas and what it's like to relocate. So it's glad to have you here because, well, actually, you've been here 12 years. You're a veteran already. You're like a local. So that's out the window. But you did relocate, and I also relocated from Hawaii, but that was over 20 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. I actually moved for UNLV, and I've been here forever. I mean, I've just been here since then, and Las Vegas provided opportunities for myself, so I stayed. What brought you to Las Vegas?
It was an opportunity for my children. I had 2 sons, and living in Hawaii, I absolutely loved Hawaii. My phrase was, I loved Hawaii, Hawaii didn't love me back. It was just so hard to afford to live there, and knowing that I wanted more opportunities for my sons, the move to Vegas seemed like the right thing to do, and it really was. Within 4 years of moving here, I was able to buy a home, which is something that wasn't even on my radar when I was living back home in Hawaii. It's
crazy because way back when we found out you bought it through our company, through one of the Expand agents at that time, right?
Right, huge coincidence.
One of your family members.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad it went well. Welcome to Las Vegas. Even though you're a senior veteran, Las Vegas and Las Vegaser.
Thank you.
Ninth Islander.
There you go.
But I think a lot of the people who relocate here, move for that same reason. It's new opportunities mainly. And we have a lot of people from Hawaii, California, the big cities all over the nation. In fact, one of our headlines today is about Seattle millionaires and how there's a trend of them moving to Las Vegas right now. And a lot has to do with Washington's new proposed wealth tax. Mm-hmm. So they're running from taxes for savings opportunities. Similar to California, I believe, just more financial reasons for them to move here.
Yes, I can absolutely see that.
Yeah, Hawaii and, like I said, all the big cities.
Yes.
Another big one going on is that they're saying that Las Vegas could potentially be the next Silicon Valley.
I actually do see a lot of that movement coming towards here, so that's actually really exciting.
It is, because it brings a lot of opportunities for the economy, for jobs, for so many different reasons. But there are some major initiatives going on to attract tech companies, and we already have a bunch here, and so the trend is real. In fact, in this area, Southwest, there's a lot of big ones out here, and then Henderson as well. So
that's going to be great, especially for job growth and everything. That's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
So am I, because when Las Vegas started back in the dirt road days, the Wild West days, a lot of it was built on the strip, gambling and entertainment, right? Gaming and entertainment. Now you have a lot of other sustainable businesses that it's surprising how much people don't work at casinos in Las Vegas.
That's true.
Right? I mean, I know you came from the casino industry, but
I did.
But with that being said, I think the stereotype is, what casino do you work at, right? When you meet people from Vegas,
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
everybody's looking for the hookup.
for whatever reason. But there's a stereotype that, most of the jobs come from casinos and resorts, which is really not the case. I mean, there's obviously a lot of people employed by them, but we have our own microeconomy, non-gaming and resort related, right? So pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully it grows and it's a little sustainable market there. Well, right now we will start our market update, and again, it is April. We finally hit the 80s, so it probably feels like home for you, Hawaii and California and all the tropical states,
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful right now.
right? 80s, and then even at night, it's like cool enough to hang out, but it ain't cold, right?
No,
It's
not at all.
nice, super nice. We could just press pause, we're in good shape.
Right? Just keep it here just for like a couple months.
Couple months. So we'll start with the big part of what's going on with real estate, and then we'll plug into Las Vegas numbers.
Okay.
Right now, there's a lot of political changes, right? And that's kind of the word in the street, or that's everything you hear on the media, right? It's all about Trump and tariffs and stock market changes based on that
Oh, yes. On the daily.
on the daily. So I just met with one of our lenders this morning, and I was asking him some questions about interest rates, and I asked him for some, short-term predictions, and that's out the window. Because there's no way. He's like, man, what we normally use as indicators is out the window, because it's been taken over by like geopolitical events, including the tariff deal with Trump that he
Oh.
just initiated this week,
Absolutely.
right? And it's so crazy because it directly affected the stock market, which in domino effect affects mortgage rates, which then affects real estate. And I pulled up this cheat sheet, this chart here that I printed out so I could get some actual numbers.
Okay.
And this is the span of April 7th, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the span of 5 days. And it's so crazy because how volatile interest rates are and how they moved. So it started on April 7th at 6.82 on a conventional loan average. April 8, it went to 6.85. April 9, it went to 6.95. April 10, it went to 6.97.
Wow.
April 11, it went to 7.10.
That's amazing that it's changed so much just within a few days.
That just usually is all in one day because of something that caused that change, and then it holds for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Not daily changes like day trading in the stock market, but that's what we're dealing with. And so, guys, if you guys are in the buyer's market and shopping interest rates or in escrow on a property, you really need to spend time with your lender in order to figure out when to lock your interest rates. Like, here's a good example, right? We just saw a movement of 0.3 points, and 0.3% of a point is a lot of movement. It's a big difference in a mortgage rate, in a mortgage payment,
Definitely between if you had locked it down on the 7th or waited till the 11th.
right? Big difference. So that is why it's such a good idea to get a very educated lender in tune with the market, because if they're following the volatility, maybe they might have advised a buyer to lock in, like Sonia said, on the 7th versus waiting day by day and then seeing what's happened. But the long story short is that interest rates have gone up within a week, and we went down to about 6.5% ish,
Wow.
and now we're above the sevens again, low sevens. So I know buyers are shopping this daily, and this is kind of the indicator for many buyers whether to pull the trigger on offering or not, right? You work with buyers, you know this,
Yes.
right? So just good to know where we are, where we're headed, which no one knows that short term. And the summary is, go talk to your lender and stay tuned or get informed about mortgage rates, because it's such a volatile time right now. My opinion, which I've been asked before, on what is the magic number that would spark Las Vegas to set fire to the housing market again. I've been asked that so many times. So
I'm curious too.
before I ask myself, I'm going to ask you what your opinion is. Like, if it's at 7 right now, or a little over 7, and we're going to go over the numbers, but the numbers, the market's pretty strong right now.
Okay.
What would it take for the market to go crazy, meaning that buyer frenzies and all that craziness again, such as we've seen in the COVID years? There's no wrong answers here.
I feel like that's a trap. But I feel like to get another buyer's frenzy, I feel like if our interest rates, of course, is one were to drop, people would be more.
Yeah, what number
interested
though
in
is
applying.
what is that magic number? So you're the buyer, pretend you're the buyer, and you've been waiting because interest rates have been high, mortgage payments have been high. What do you feel, if you're in the market, would be the number that you would be like, yes, let's go?
Honestly, I would love 5s, but I don't see that happening very soon. Low 6s, I would definitely be like, okay, we might want to do this now, because who knows, it could turn into a 7 or a 7.5 or an 8 in just a few days. But yeah, if it were to drop down into the 5s, it would be 100%.
You're still avoiding an exact number, aren't you? Well, I'm gonna let you slide with it.
Okay.
I'll let you slide with it. I'm with you. I think anything sub 6 is gonna take this market off.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is a lot of people are having a hard time walking away from interest rates that they're locked into now at 3, 4, 5%, right? And if we can get into the 5s, that's not too far away. In fact, it's probably, hey, honey, let's go sell our home and get what we really wanted. Because there's so much people, especially during the COVID market, that settled for a property because of the buyer frenzy.
Yes.
And it might not be the perfect fit for them right now, or their dream property. However, they have not sold to purchase because the interest rates have been so high over the last few years.
That's true.
That, and then the affordability of buyers, right? And right now, the difference between 7 and 6.5, which we were at for a little while, is major. It's a difference between being able to afford a $450,000 house versus a $475,000 house, right? That payment makes that difference. Yeah, so right now we're gonna keep our eyes on the ball, and hopefully our lenders will keep you guys and us informed as well, and we'll then funnel that information back to you, right?
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. As I can tell, you've been in the market for a long time. I don't want to say you're old.
You talking about my hair?
But yeah, no, I mean, just to get that type of information, it's very helpful. And like I said, it's not just everybody out there asking the question. I have the same questions myself. I am newer to real estate and everything, so I am learning as I go, and to have somebody like you with that wealth of knowledge, I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for patting my back. I appreciate that. I can tell you that you're doing a great job out here, and this is your first time doing it, so I really appreciate you supporting the cause, educating the world. And I can tell you the first time I did it, I was not as smooth as you are. But it's just a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So it's all good. So to answer your question, or maybe you didn't ask me a question, but to address the fact that I've been doing this for a very long time, yes, I have. And I've been doing the studying and been in the trenches and transacting and coaching and teaching and brokering, all that stuff for, it's been a very long time. I'd say an agent for over 20 years and brokering for over 15.
Wow, that's amazing. You must have seen a lot of changes.
I'm going to show you a change that I'm almost embarrassed to share.
What is that?
Check this out, you guys. Millennials, do you even know what these are?
It's a blast from the past.
Well, these are called videotapes. I believe VHS. And back in the day, we had the difference or option between VHS or Betamax. And my history, I went to UNLV, graduated, been through a bunch of, I call it temporary jobs, and I started a real estate investment company. That's how I got into real estate.
Okay.
And we were flipping homes, cash flowing homes, helping other people make money as well. And these are the ways we got educated.
Oh.
We would take all the seminars, get our hands on all the education we got. And then, we learned on the job as well. Since then, I got into traditional real estate back in the early 2000s, shortly after that, and been doing this ever since. But now we're doing it publicly, and that's the difference is instead of sharing the same conversation one by one with everyone, our goal as a company is really to try and help as much people who want information as we can at once. And then if they want individual consultations, then great, we can help them individually. But putting the message out there, I think hopefully helps you guys. And if it does, comment below, because that helps us give us the confidence that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you have questions about other topics, please drop it, and then we'll try and see if we can get those answered for you as well.
You can go back all the way up to VHS tapes, and maybe we can get you answered up.
I'm gonna have to find a VHS player now for this. I have to see these.
You gotta go to an antique store or pawn shop for that. In fact, a pawn shop won't even sell you that, I bet you. Well, anyways, let's get into the reason why most people are here, the numbers.
I'm ready.
All right. So I guess this is my cue to start, and then along the way, jump in here, ask me some questions. What are you thinking?
Okay.
What are you seeing? And yeah, anything, any feedback, any questions would actually, I'm sure, help everyone.
Good.
All right. So we'll start with where are we with our median price points? And you've heard me on the phone this morning. There's already a couple people asking, what's going on in Las Vegas? What's your market doing? How's real estate going, right? That's almost always the first question.
Exactly that. And do you think I should buy now?
Or do you think I should sell now?
Exactly.
Right? And going over the numbers, which affects people differently, right? Because it's not about just the numbers, it's about people's situations. And when you combine the two, then you get a good consulting, right?
Yes.
So, but based on the pure numbers, the fact is that we are maintaining Las Vegas historic market high for single family residents. Our median price point is $485,000. And what's very interesting is that we had our winter months, which was pretty volatile as expected. And then coming out of that, we didn't expect to continue rising to our market high and then maintaining that, especially with everything that we just talked about going on in the world.
Yes.
Other states are doing other things, guys, but we are specifically talking about Las Vegas because that's what we know best. And 485,000 median price point has maintained from January, February, and March. And now we're in April. So I'm real curious to start reviewing April numbers. And with the spikes in interest rates, how has that affected real estate? If the 6.5 held for the entire month of April, we would be in a different market. There'd be a ton more buyers, ton more closings. But being that it's volatile, people are still like, should I offer or should I not? Right? And that's where the realtor comes in to help with that decision-making process. But the trend is that sales have been continuously increasing since the winter months all the way through today.
That's so good.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And so right now we started in January at 1,578 sales. We went up 200 sales to 1,781 sales in February. And in March, it went up by 361 more sales, and we're now at 2,142 sales. Now, sales are continuing to progress and increase, which means the market is getting stronger on both parties. I believe that we're in a pretty balanced market right now between buyer and seller, and we'll get more into that. But it's good to know that sales are going up. So regardless if you're a buyer or seller, that's going to affect you. Or even if you're not even in the market, it's good to know what's going on with the market, right? Now, as far as new listings, we are up a lot of new listings. And I believe it's just because we're in April, which is prime time of spring.
Yes.
And if you guys didn't know, and I'm telling our agents the same thing, second quarter should be cyclically the busiest time of the year. We say spring, which starts in March, but March closings happen in April. So second quarter is usually where we see all the big numbers happen.
Okay.
Right? And that's when our agents should be running around town and doing the work. And in the winter months, preparing and, doing a little different type of work activities. But right now, it's putting the message out there, sending the education out, and really educating their clients, because whether you're a buyer or seller, they need to understand that we're in the busy market right now.
Oh, definitely. I've been doing a lot of running around myself.
Yeah. And so right now, listings have gone up by quite a bit. Again, over 500 new listings. And as far as median asking price, it's stayed the same as last month as well at 525,000. So what that means is that the listings on a median scale are asking 525,000 and they are settling at 485,000.
Okay.
That, or there's a lot more affordable sales going on than above the median price point. So there is a gap between the 485 to the asking price of 525. But what that tells me, and this is all the way from January.
Okay.
So what that tells me is that sellers are pretty confident with the number right now, and they're not making adjustments, and the new sellers are kind of consistently asking for the same amounts as January, February, and March. As far as units available, along with units sold, went up. We're up about 187 units available,
Okay.
and that makes it 5,416 units available.
Wow.
Now, to give you comparison year over year, that's up 63% in inventory, right? That favors the buyer, actually.
Oh, definitely.
And in comparison year over year, I told you we did 2,142 sales, but that's only up 3% from last year. So if sales went up 3%, units available went up by 63%. That is all kind of favoring the buyer right now as far as negotiations and all of that.
That sounds good. So, any of those people that are actually thinking whether or not they should be buying, you might want to reach out to your realtor.
Yeah, there's a window of opportunity right now, and there'll be more when we talk about condos next. As far as month supply, even though units available went up, month supply went down.
Okay.
So we went the opposite way. Month supply is at now 2.5. That actually favors the seller.
Oh,
And so that's up 58% from last year and down 0.4 month supply from month over month. And year over year, that's up 58% because that's when we had the really low inventory. So this is probably why we shouldn't make those assessments before we go over all the numbers. Because although units sold went up and units available actually went up, month supply actually went down based on the amount of people offering and closing deals, and using that ratio, that's how we come up with that month supply.
this has been a really interesting market this year, huh?
Very interesting. Very interesting. So we'll go over the general assessment of our market though when we finish the condominiums. Condo units sold, we're at 570, which is up 55 units sold, coming from 515 units sold, coming from 413 units sold in January. So it's consistent with single families where sales volume is going up. It's getting to be a hotter time of the year. And as far as median price point, we're at $306,500, which is up $3,500.
Okay.
So the medium condo market is going up, and that's at a high as well. And people are paying the money right now. Now let's look at inventory so we can see, is it the right time or not, right?
Right.
So for inventory, new listings, there's an increased 96 new listings from last year,
Okay.
making it 2,800 new listings. And that's up about 21% from last year. And our median ask price is $300,000, up $3,000 from last month. So if the median ask price is $300,000 and the median sold price is $307,000, either the sellers are getting above the average ask price or the buyers are going after higher end condos.
Okay.
Well, actually, it includes townhomes. So I guess they're just going after nicer units or more higher valued units. Units available is 2,204 units available. That's up 179 units from last month. And what is the very interesting, the big number to follow is months availability or effective availability, and we're at 4.6 months supply, and that is high. And again, our norm for a good balanced market on month supply is usually about 3 months supply. So 4.6 month supply is a very high number for condos. That's up 0.7 month supply from the month prior, and that's up 93.5% from last year. So double the inventory.
Wow.
So in summary, let's talk about where our market is. In summary, the market is heating up. There's a lot of sales. And although there's a lot of listings, there's a lot of buyers. So that kind of offsets. And with that being said, I think it's a pretty balanced market, favoring the seller just by a little bit at a 2.5 month supply. That being said, I mean, there is a lot of inventory, and although there's a lot of buyers in the market, there is volatility. So there probably still is a lot of wiggle room for negotiations going on, especially when you see the median price points median ask price is $525 and the median close price is $485. There probably is room for negotiations. Well, there's rooms for negotiations. As far as the condos, I think it's favoring the buyers right now, although the number is high, right? Your median price point's at $307,000, but at a 4.6 month supply of inventory, that gotta favor the buyers. And and when you see properties, 30, 45 days in the market, I think those might be great targets for buyers to start negotiating with. Why is there so much month supply in condos, right? That's usually the question we get asked. You have any thoughts behind that?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
So my opinion is that anytime we hit market highs, a lot of investors tend to look to cash their investment out, maximize their profit, right? And for the condo townhouse market, there are more investors than owner occupants, and there's a reason behind that. But the point is that there's more investors than owner occupants. Thus, if we're at a high, I think more investors are looking to sell those units while it's a sure thing, right?
Yeah.
The only thing about that is, where do they place their money after they cash out, being that financial market's so volatile, right? I mean, it's fluctuating like 8 to 10%. Like it's ridiculous. If you're a day trader, I hope you're hedging your bets, because you're probably losing sleep if you're not.
Right? Well, invested in the single family units. You seem to be getting deals for those.
Well, that's long term, right? So anyways, if the investors are selling, I'm curious where they're going to place their monies. And if it's not in real estate, they'll probably have to pay capital gains tax. So when people ask me, is it a good time to sell, and they're an investor, it's really, okay, here's what your property is worth. Here's how much equity you have. And then the second part, post strategy, is, are you going to defer that taxes? If not, you could be paying up to 20% capital gains tax. And do you have another investment to put that money in?
Okay.
Or are you just going to cash out and have fun with your life, right? You've already earned the money. Now you deserve to use it. So those are the post questions on analyzing, is it a good time to cash out my investment? As far as, owner occupants, if you're going to live in your property, I personally still believe it's a good time to purchase property, whether it's single family, townhome, and condo. Because when you look at the overall picture in real estate, yes, we're at market highs. But the real question is it gonna go down or is it gonna go up from there? And in the short run, anyone who answers is guessing.
Yes.
In the long run, we're still guessing, but at least it's a lot more educated guess based on, the fundamentals of our economy and economics. And based on supply and demand, I always tell people in the next 5 to 15 years, I strongly feel it's going to go up.
Especially since they said that we are running out of land in order to build on.
Right. And that's specific to Las Vegas. Of course, the macro economy and things that happens in our politics and the world affects all of that. So there's no guarantees in anything, but I am pretty confident that, within the next 5 to 15, Vegas prices are going to continue to climb. And I think people are going to continue to move here while it makes sense financially to move here, right? And that means until we get close to California prices, or maybe even Hawaii prices, then it probably doesn't make sense financially as much, and they're moving for different reasons, right?
Yes.
entertainment, the sports, you
Well,
know,
we're blowing up here in Vegas.
all that stuff, right? So, different reasons. But again, while it's still expensive for Vegas, it is not expensive for surrounding states plus Hawaii. And thus, a lot of people continue to move here. And it's I sound like a broken record sometimes, but California alone is moving at the pace of 40,000 people a year,
Wow.
right? So, you know, that alone makes a big dent in our population growth. And just to remind you guys, you know, the US Census is predicting another 500,000 people, and we're at 2.45-ish right now. So they're predicting that we'll hit about 3 million residents within the next 10 to 15 years. And just remember, we do not have that amount of homes or land available for 500,000 people if that happens, which means prices will probably go up. Now, based on that, I'd like to get into this one. I need to do more stats. But brand new home sales,
Okay.
because that is totally different segment than resale homes. Now, guys, the numbers that guys and ladies, guys and girls, the numbers that we've always given to you come from the multiple listing service from the Las Vegas Association of Realtors, LVR. They track numbers based on whoever places listings within the listing service. And sometimes home builders list their properties through the MLS, and sometimes they don't. So if you just track new home sales non-MLS, you'll get a better figure for just new home sales, right? And so here are the just brand new home sales numbers, fresh off the press. So as far as median closing price, we're at $478,700, and that is less $2,000 from the period prior. But what is interesting is that year over year, that's almost $25,000 less.
Wow.
So last year, our median brand new price point was $505,000. And of course, I'm rounding some numbers off, but if we're at 478 and we're coming from 505, I don't think that means that builders are giving you discounts, because that's what it might sound like. I think that the median prices are just lower based on the new developments in the goal of providing more affordable housing, because that's what's really selling. And so builders are selling more affordable single families or even townhomes because that's what's really selling, right?
Okay.
I mean, they're selling across the board, but in bulk and skewing the median price point.
Just curious, when
Yeah.
you say more affordable, is it like smaller homes or different areas? Like,
So it's the attorney answer. It depends,
okay.
right? And so what would you do if land is more expensive than it was a year ago, and you know that the buyers want to pay less than they did a year ago? How do you solve that equation as a builder, right? Like you said, you either have to offer smaller lots, or maybe they get a better deal on a bulk purchase for land or something.
Okay.
But theoretically, you'd have to offer smaller lots or smaller houses, or change the location,
Yes.
right? And every location supports different price points. So right now, there's a lot of locations that are kind of on the outskirts,
Okay.
because that's where land's left. And that's where they were able to get land from BLM as well, Bureau of Land Management. But because they're on the outskirts, they're more affordable land areas. Thus, the overall single family or brand new home, townhome, or whatever it is more affordable, usually.
Yeah. I love that they're doing that. They're trying to just give more homeowner opportunities to a wider range of people. So that's amazing.
Well, they're trying, but it's a challenge when the numbers are going up, right? And so, good point that you bring that up. I had some notes on what Governor Lombardo is doing, and basically he's putting out a $200 million price initiative to help affordable housing. And I don't know where my notes went on that. I had, but basically, Government Lombardo, he has a housing bill to address this, and he's allocating or looking to allocate $200 million to he calls it attainable housing,
Okay.
expedited approval processes for financial help, and rental assistance.
Okay.
So that's what our state and governor Joe Lombardo is doing to try and address that.
Oh, I love that for the Ninth Island.
Yeah. What else? Average prices. So average price per square foot for new builds is $294 a square foot. So you can do the math on that if you're shopping brand new. And that is up from the from the month prior, which was $280 a square foot. And that is up a total of 5%.
Okay.
So if you were to buy a home 1 year ago, maybe it was 5% less to buy it than today. And by the way, guys, builders are still offering incentives. So they're also not struggling. So there's a kind of a happy medium right now. So you just need to figure out which builders are offering it, and your realtor will do this for you. But you need to figure out which builders are offering incentives and what type of incentives, and can they be negotiated, because they normally don't negotiate price. So I'd say the majority are still offering some kind of incentive.
Okay.
The affordable ones are tending to offer less because they can get away with it. And then, of course, the more expensive properties, higher priced properties, and I don't mean luxury, I mean like within $1 million, are still offering pretty good incentives,
Okay.
all the way up to 2-3% closing costs
Oh, nice.
or upgrade credits. So that's still happening. And where are we going with new builds? Well, last year there was 1,100 permits pulled. That's how we kind of track how much new builds are in the making.
Okay.
And this year there's only 990.
Oh, wow.
So if our sales are up from last year and we have less permits going on right now, you do the math on supply and demand and where price is going to go with new builders. Because the less they build, the more sales there is, probably the higher the price is going to be, which favors probably buyers to purchase sooner than later
Yes.
with that permit number. Other than that, guess how much subdivisions there are brand new for sale. And I don't expect you to know this. Most people don't.
I won't know, but I'll just take a shot in the dark. I'll say.
Way off. Way off. You're going to have to add a zero to that.
Okay.
So there's a lot that we don't know about. That's why. And a lot of subdivisions, there could be a master plan with 20 different subdivisions within the master plan. So it's not like one master plan equals one subdivision. With that being said, there's 191 subdivisions
Wow.
right now. How accurate that number is, no one probably knows, but builders close and open communities pretty much on a weekly basis here. So that's probably not the most accurate figure, but there are a lot. But again, there's a lot of sub-communities within one development, and then many developments within a master plan community. So there you go. There's your new build report. And as far as new home closings, we're at 895 new home closings as of last month, March, which is up just a little bit, maybe 10 home closings from from the month before, which means that even brand new home sales are picking up more closings. And that's up about 1.5% from last year.
Okay.
The cool thing about builders is that they create their own supply and demand, and the one thing they're able to control is supply. And I know the funny thing that I use with a lot of my clients is like, we don't as realtors control demand, and so we control the marketability of your property, we help you figure out the pricing for a listing, all of that, but we don't control the demand. We prepare for what the demand is, we deal with the current demand, and we react to the changes in demand based with our marketing efforts and techniques and price points, but we don't create it. However, the builders have that trump card and they can control supply, which changes their own little market there. So thank you for joining us, Sonia.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I had fun.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone join me because it gets a little lonely here, along with Ethan back there, which you guys can't see. But he's always smiling, so it allows me to continue smiling for you guys too. Enjoy spring. Take your allergy meds. Allergy season is up, but on the bright side, the climate is beautiful. People are starting to open the doors, open the windows,
Yes.
preparing your pools. I see barbecues starting to come out and a lot more sports. The other
Yeah.
thing that's really cool about spring is that daylight lasts longer, right? And the sun doesn't go down probably until after 7 now,
Yeah.
right? Where sun was going down at 6, 5:30 even.
Oh yeah. It was dark on my drive home. I feel like
Does it affect your work ethic?
no. I'm a hard worker.
I hope this adds value to you. I hope you enjoyed what you heard, because that's what allows us to continue doing it. Our goal is to add value. And if you have any additional questions, concerns, or anything that you want to learn about, please comment below, because that will help us with our next video or our next episode that we'll share with you. We plan on continuing our market updates. And then I'm also going to follow up this time, which we don't always do, with a rental update. So take care, you guys. I was gonna say stay warm, but I don't need to say that anymore.
No.
Have fun in the sun, you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.